Admiral's Log, March 5th, 1911. In the ever-shifting tides of war, fortune has smiled upon the Soviet Navy in an unexpected turn of events. The Japanese dreadnoughts, a source of significant concern and strategic recalibration in recent times, have been neutralized. This unexpected development, brought about by another of Japan's adversaries, has drastically altered the balance of naval power in the Asian theater, tipping it in our favor. The elimination of these formidable Japanese vessels has not only leveled the playing field, but in many respects tilted it towards the Soviet Union. This serendipitous outcome presents a rare strategic opportunity, one that could potentially redefine our position and influence in the region. With the larger surface elements of the Japanese Navy no longer posing a threat, my thoughts now turn towards an ambitious and bold course of action. The feasibility of launching an invasion force to seize control of one of Japan's territories is an option that now lies within the realm of possibility. Such a move could deliver a significant blow to Japan's strategic holdings and further assert Soviet naval dominance in the region. This contemplation of an invasion is not without its complexities and risks. It requires meticulous planning, significant resources, and the coordination of both naval and ground forces. The logistics of such an operation are daunting, yet the potential rewards are substantial. As I deliberate over this potential invasion, I am acutely aware of the historical implications of such an endeavor. This could be a pivotal moment in the war, one that could shift the course of conflict and cement the Soviet Union's status as a dominant maritime power in Asia. The opportunity that has presented itself is one that may not come again. In the wake of our adversaries' misfortunes, we find ourselves at a crossroads, poised to possibly extend our reach further than ever before. The decision to pursue this course of action will require careful consideration, but the prospect of such a daring move is undeniably compelling. The coming days will be critical in shaping our strategy and determining the next chapter in our naval saga.
Hey guys, Stealth here and welcome to episode 14. As you can see, we're jumping right into a battle with this one. The elements that we have over here are Sviatoy Yakov and the legendary Kuben. These two ships are going to have to deal with one of the Japanese Unryu class warships. These have a lot of firepower. They have a substantial amount of 12.3s, and we have seen that they are deadly. Now, the Sviatoy is a ship that is definitely going to take a bunch of punishment from this particular ship. The 12.3s will cut through her side armor, especially the closer we get. Getting closer is not necessarily in my interest with the Yakov. The Kuben is. Her 4 side-mounted torpedo launchers could be instrumental in taking down this ship. The problem is, we're going to have to really make a race for that thing, because it's only 3.5 kilometer range. The torps aren't that good. So my plan is to try and keep the battleship busy, maybe do some damage with a high explosive, and potentially knock down some of her crew, reducing her damage control ability. If it so happens that I destroy secondary guns, then that'd be fantastic, but it's not something I'm really counting on. Now, in case you're wondering, where the hell did the Japanese get another battleship? Because I thought that they didn't have any. They didn't, and then they started building new ones. So yeah, the war with Japan continues, and if I'm able to take down this battleship, that would definitely be very interesting when it comes to my victory score. Yeah, this is exactly what I was worried about. Right here. Satsuma has most of her firepower concentrated on the battleship, only the 3.2s are trying to pen the Kuben. Oof, look at that. That is not a great stat. These things are so hard to destroy. They do have cramped quarters though, so crew loss is significant of an issue. The Yakov over here is a Europa-class dreadnought, designed in 1900. Oh, sorry, no, a little later. She's got the 1909 refit, and it is currently 1911. I did give them additional refit over in 1910, to increase the type of AP shells that they carry. And with that, be able to pen these types of ships better. Unfortunately, the Yakov has been undergoing repairs and has not yet received the pleasure of getting that refit. So unfortunately, Yakov is still using the old, less powerful shells. These only, at let's say 5-kilometer range is what we're currently at, they can only pen 24 inches of armor, which in case of this ship is generally not enough. The main belt is 14 inches plus 73%, so that's a lot of armor that they have going on there. Now fortunately, Satsuma does not seem to realize the threat that the Kuban is posing. I hope to be able to capitalize on that. I do want to use an aggressive launch here because... Are you guys even pointing at the target? Now they are. Torps in the water. Excellent. That's 4 torps. I'm not sure if all of those are actually going to be useful. I.e., we might have some duds. Yeah, they're trying to return fire. That's fine. Oh, it's looking like a really tight spread. That's 4 torps. Is that 4 live ones? No, 1 dud. Not bad. Not bad. Destroyed the main tower. There goes your damage control ability. 10% of the crew has died. And Kuban can turn around and use the port launchers to do the same thing all over again. The thing is, I think she's a little too far away. So I'm going to try and bring her in. And get her a better torpedo solution here. Satsuma has lost 2 engines. She is continuing to flood. Which means that she'll probably be pretty slow. A slow ship is not necessarily a dead ship, as it might be better suited to dodging torpedoes. But it is something that is going to be easier to hit for the Yakov. And you can see that my accuracy has jumped to about a 70%, depending on, well, when you look at it. Okay, now we're going to launch again with the port side. Had Satsuma recognized just the threat level that the Kuban brings, this would have been a different fight. But it looks like she's either unaware... or she does not give 2 shits. There we go. Torpedoes away. Port side Kuban. Starboard side's already halfway through the reload. And it looks like we're going to land another couple of really decent hits here. That's more like it. That is more like it. That was an ammo explosion aboard this Japanese battleship. Sorry, I'm just taking pictures here for the screenshots. For the thumbnail. Satsuma has suddenly lost 18% of her crew. Structural integrity is down to 50%. Her main ammunition has taken a big hit. Because part of it exploded. And, well... she's going to continue to flood for a while. In tandem with crew loss and loss of main tower, her damage control is going to be absolutely awful. I love it. Starboard side torpedoes, almost reloaded. And Kuban has done 13,000 points of damage and received almost no hits. I know that's dangerous to say because I might jinx it here. But I think we'll be able to take this ship down. It's 192 million. And my $28 million cruiser is working very hard at taking that down. Oh no. Oh no. Starboard launchers. Quick. Or we won't have a Kuban anymore. Come on. Ship has stopped the flooding. Oh boy. Kuban has not. This is bad. Oh, the torpedo detonated. That's my torpedoes detonating aboard my ship. What is hitting me? 4-inch. Damn it. I want the Kuban to survive. She's basically a hero ship at this point. So she's going to have to survive. Now, is it possible to force this guy to surrender? I think it is. Because once... well, actually, they've still got a lot of these. They have a lot of these 12-inch shells. I think it's like part of the ammo for the other guns exploded. Maybe we can force the crew to surrender, but it's going to be a while. because this is still 20% crew. We're gonna have to focus on that snowball, and I do want the Kuben to get out of here, so I cannot expect any further torpedo attacks from Kuben. The Yakov does come with torpedoes. She doesn't have nearly as many launchers. She's got one starboard, one port, one bow and one stern. She's got a torpedo launcher all around. But so does Satsuma, except her torpedo launcher has been destroyed. So her ability to shoot at short ranges and deal catastrophic amounts of damage with a torpedo are not quite there. That doesn't mean I can just discard it, because while she might not have torpedoes, she does have really hard-hitting 12-inchers. I mean, look at that. 30 inches of armor pen at 7.5 clicks. That is really, really, really dangerous. What sort of torpedoes does she normally carry? 15-inch? Huh? I didn't know they made 15-inch torpedoes anymore. My torpedoes are 19-inch. It's like they're using outdated torpedoes. Interesting. Now my torpedo range is limited to 3-4. And it's going to be potentially easy to dodge, seeing as how close I have to get. 21% crew's dead. Boink. How expensive is my ship? 212. This is kind of the problem. I don't have a whole lot of battleships. And my economy doesn't exactly support building a ton of them either. I mean, my economy overall is fairly shit. Ah, no, come on. I was angling to launch a torpedo, not lose one. There, torpedo in the water. Satsuma. 2 damaged engines. I don't know if she'll be able to dodge that. My chance to pen her is pretty awful. Yeah, that's gonna hit. Right on her stern. There you go. That is what we need. 25% crew loss. When it comes to fire damage, I'm seeing a, for her, pretty disturbing pattern. I.e., most of the ship is on fire. And with only 69% of her damage control ability still intact, she is suffering. The damage control parties are going to have to work extremely hard to try and keep the ship afloat. All the while taking fire from the Yakov. Now they do have a little destroyer buzzing about, but it's looked like, yeah, it hasn't done anything. It's barely tried. So thank you AI for not really making an effort. Come on. 30% crew loss. Structural integrity 36%. Keep pushing, keep punishing that thing. At some point, especially due to the buoyancy loss, they might not even be able to use the guns. We haven't quite reached that point yet. Now I hope that this goes to show that even a ship like this, which arguably firepower-wise is inferior to the Satsuma, can still pose an extreme threat. It is, however, instrumental having something like the Kuben, because she did a lot of work. She slowed the ship down, she caused a ton of crew loss with her torpedo impacts, and because of that, the Yakov was able to do what it is now doing, which is finishing off the ship. Had this been a stand-up fight between Satsuma and Yakov, I would not have won. That is not a fight I would have taken. And my ship generally is a little faster if it's not taking on water, so 25 knots would allow me to escape the 21 knots. I'm probably have tried to do a bit of damage and then disengage. And maybe try and shake the DD with the light cruiser. But now, I can win this battle. And now I can get a ton of victory points. Which also means that if the Japanese want to replace this warship, they're probably going to have to spend another 15 to 20 months building one. And that is really good, because just having them at such a disadvantage is going to give me a far better chance in this war. I did off-screen send a bunch of my, let's say, more Finland-oriented fleet to go towards the Asia theater. They expect to get there in about 14 to 15 months. It's going to take a very, very, very long time for that group to arrive. But when it finally does arrive, I'll have potentially enough tonnage to take the fight all the way to Japan and try to invade. Because that is really my goal. The thing is, however, it's just taking so long to get the required tonnage together. My ships aren't that heavy, and that's kind of the problem. So what I'm thinking of doing is having a sort of designated invasion ships, which means really cheap battleships that just focus on max displacement, and that maybe later on will get turned into, let's say, more feasible warships. So have more firepower, more protection, maybe more speed. Because if you want to build an invasion fleet, you just need a bunch of tonnage. You don't need all the gear, you don't need all the guns, you don't need a ton of speed. You just need to be able to have the tonnage. Let's just let the DD go. There we go, 18,000 victory points. So, let's see what I can throw together when it comes to building a, well, let's say, invasion-oriented warship. So, invasion time. Seeing how well she's done, this is going to be the Kuban class, but now, well, not really. Because it doesn't really suit her. She's not going to be exactly a warship in the sense that she goes to town on enemy warships. She's going to be here to defeat or to assist in landing operations. So, let's call this the Petrov class, after the Admiral himself. It's going to be a really weird ship. Really weird. She's going to be doing like 20 knots. She's going to have... And this is to upsize the displacement. Maximum beam, maximum draft. This way, I have one of these ships at 30,000 tons. Right now, they're going to cost me 83 million. I'm going to give them... say, well, fairly minimum gear. And they do need, of course, one main gun. That used to be 2, but it's now 1. So let's say getting an 11-incher. This is basically it, right? It's not particularly fancy. It's only going to cost you about 98 million. I can upgrade a whole bunch more, such as give her Krupp 2, but, well, I'm going to keep her fairly cheap. I want to keep her relatively quick to build. And this way, I eventually will have the hull ready. And if I then want to add guns, change loadouts, and make her more feasible as a warship, I can. So let's give her at least the basics. 4 inches of armor is fine. 10 inches of armor here is fine. When it comes to the type of anti-flood, I'm probably going to have to invest a bit more. Is this going to make her more expensive? Yes, it is. Build time doesn't go up that much. Maintenance, 3 million a month. 4.7, good lord. We're going to go back to the steam expansion engine. That is good enough. Induced. That's another 400k per one of these ships. No, thank you. Barbette armor. No. Ain't nobody got money for that. Flash fire chance, 27%. Ooh. 18. What does that do to my budget? 3 million a month. What if I turn down the crew? What? Okay, crew costs nothing. Yeah, okay, right, because Russia, we don't pay anybody. That must be it. So, this thing is about as heavily armed as a cruiser. Potentially less so. If they ever happen to come up against something that looks like a destroyer, best of luck to them. Like, I might give them 5 inches here just to, you know, pose, but beyond that, this thing is hopeless. Absolutely hopeless. What am I getting? Flash fire chance 18%. I can still make that worse if I pick Pickrick or Dunite, so let's go TNT. And Cordite is going to make it worse again, so we're going to stick to the basics. Standard. Fine. Anti-torpedoes? No, just don't torpedo me and we'll be fine. So, That's the ship. Fancy? Absolutely not. Cheap? Heck yeah. Because this thing cost you 213 million. This thing only cost you 140. So this is going to be the invasion ship, if you will. And with, let's say, 3 and a cruiser, I can instantly get over the 100,000 tonnage required to be going on an invasion. They also don't cost me that much, which even if let's say I'm not at war, I can park them, I can mothball them, and they'll not be used at all, up until the point where I need tonnage. It's not a fancy ship, but I hope that the Petrovs will become very useful in an invasion role. And if invasions turn out to be something I don't need, I can refit them, because I will have a very sizable ship. The ship with its wide beam will never be fast, but she will be stable. She's going to provide a stable firing platform, so if at some point I need better guns or bigger guns or what have you, that should be fine. This, however, is going to get crazy expensive, which I don't like, because my income is fucking awful. We are building a bunch more ships. We're also refitting a bunch more ships. What's the status of my fleet? We got 1 in battle, that's the Izyaslav. We got a couple repairing. Yeah, the Yakov did take a beating over in the Sea of Japan, but she won, which is important. We're repairing the Kuban. We're building a couple of DDs for Greece. And we got that new heavy cruiser class, but that's going to take me a while. I'm going to suspend the construction of, I think, all of these ships up until plenty of port capability is going to be opening up. Yeah, there we go. This way I have about 10 months of money left. Now, what I have not done in a while is engage transports, at least on screen. There is one out there, and there's one, the Sumair of the Yayoi class. A couple of 5-inch guns, and the Izyaslav is armed with 4-inch guns. It's one of the old Zvonkis. I haven't upgraded the Zvonkis at all, mostly because my shipyards are always busy building something, and refitting destroyers is not exactly high on the list of priorities. Nevertheless, I do need to keep an eye on these ships, because they might get outdated, and that's not something I really want to have happen. I do know that they are pretty capable. I mean, they're just your box standard destroyer. A couple of guns, 2 torpedo launchers, and that's it. They were designed to go up against bigger threats, but considering what we're facing right now, I don't think that's really required. Yeah. Are you gonna torp me already, or what? There it is. Okay, we might need to speed up. Cute. Okay, wow. That transport out there is putting up quite a fight. Smoke up. Oh, wow. We've already hit him? You're half flooded? Dude. Standard bulkheads. Okay. 1% chance to hit. Alright, fine. Deal with this thing. Slow down to full speed. Level the ship out. Get some accuracy. And take down that DD. Or not, if you can't find it. We're going to have to turn in more. Now, the Japanese... What? Oh, okay, that was the DD. Fine. The Japanese transports sometimes are armed, and this Japanese transport surely is one of those. So I'm going to have to be a bit careful about how to approach this. But what they don't have is armor. They might be able to shoot back with 6 4.4 inchers. This thing is more heavily armed than my destroyer. But... oh, there we go. It was not able to spot me momentarily. Now it's lost me again? Lost sight? That's interesting. Like, we need... I don't know. 2... yeah, there we go. 2 good high explosive hits, and this transport ceases to exist. Done! Thank you. So, that's a transport done. It's not the first, and it definitely won't be the last, because I'm trying to deal as much damage to the Japanese Navy as possible, including their merchant navy. The fewer merchant ships they have, the fewer their economy grows, or sorry, the less their economy grows, and the fewer warships I will have to face in future conflicts. It will, however, be a long slog, because the AI seems to get all sorts of bonuses against my economy. slash for theirs. The Japanese economy, I think, is still growing. Yeah, at 4% per year. Mine is growing by 0.1% per year. But then again, I am supposedly a democracy. Right, with a GDP of minus 45%. Still, 45% extra of this is still pretty awful. So my main plan is just try and reduce, and I think it has been successful, reduce the GDP as much as possible. It does seem, though, like the naval budget for Japan is bigger than mine, which kind of surprises me, because it means that they just get a bigger cut of the pie. And I'm not sure why. Naval budget, 41%. Naval budget, mine is less than, what? 25% less? Okay. That's pretty weird. What is their... Armor logistics, yeah. Armor logistics were pretty even. 41% versus 38%. So we're pretty even on that. Okay. Now, what do they have left? 1 battleship, 3 heavies, and some trash. Okay. They are building more. I, unfortunately, beyond Chesma, don't really have a lot of firepower in the region. Kuban is repairing, so I got the Izyaslav, which just did the battle, and I got the Chesma, which is a really old battleship. It has not been updated ever. It's still the 1900 version of the Offsetero class, so basically the battleship hotels. Those 4-inch guns are dangerous, but the ship is slow. Now, unfortunately, my shipyards are very busy. But let's see how I would adjust this ship with the tech that I have now. Because I am interested in keeping the Offsetero around, at least this one, and seeing how much I can get out of her. I mean, the ship is obsolete, it's Battleship 6 hull, but I can still use the ship as is. I don't care for this gun. Huh? Okay. I guess we can't use that. None of the barbettes work anymore? Now I feel cheated. Okay. These are the Mark III guns, so they're the upgraded ones. We're going to go with this engine, which is going to save me some money. About $500,000 a month. I don't need all that engine efficiency, though. Well, no, I do. These are the Mark II 4-inchers, so they're not that special. The problem with this hull is that it's just not great. Like, even going to try and speed up is going to make this thing increase in weight pretty fast. There she goes. Yeah, we're going to go to 22 knots, which isn't spectacular, but it's what we got. And when it comes to armor, I can improve that. And then I might be able to get her to like 25. No. No. Not really. Make 22 knots. Barbettes are fine. Anti-flood's fine. Reinforced bulkheads is fine. I can give her better rangefinders. And I can give her better turret rotation. I think that's about it. You're still using gun cotton? Dude. That's really old school shit. Considering the threat level that the Japanese pose, I'll give her capitalistic shells. Because that gives me a substantial punch with these 11-inchers. At about 28 inches. At 7.5 kilometer range. So that should be able to start punching through things. Now when it comes to these 4-inchers, I want to have more range on them. Because currently they're limited to about 6.6. I'm only counting HE. If I give them 10% more, they're going to be up to 8.4. Which is pretty decent, and of course that does come at the trade-off of rate of fire. But that's fine. Now pitch for the ships is still horrible. I don't expect any mercy there. Wow. Huh. Okay. I wasn't expecting to be able to do that, but here we are. The ship now essentially still costs me the same per month, because she started out at 3.5 million, and this way she's still 3.5 million. She just has bigger guns, she has better guns, and she has a better turret rotation speed, she has a better engine, and apparently all this can happen in just 4 months. I like it. We're going to swap these. And I think that's about it. They do take up about 20,000 tons of displacement in my shipyard, so I have to keep that in mind as I want to try and refit the ship, because my shipyards are very busy. Repairing, overhauling, and launching entirely new classes of ships. So it's not entirely easy to get a whole bunch of ships refit. I'm going to have to do that, well, when a bit of capacity opens up as a ship gets repaired. But for now, we're not quite there. I am getting the upgrade, so my shipyard, my naval building, sorry, shipbuilding capacity does go up. But yeah, it's not quite enough yet. So that'll be it for the episode. We are doing quite well in the war against Japan. I'm doing very well in the war against Austria-Hungary, but that's mostly because their relative victory points are very low. The invasion over here is still ongoing and seems to be going according to plan, but we're still getting sort of counter-invaded. Although Austria-Hungary is stretching itself very thin. I would love to take some more of these ships down. So I might make that the priority for the next couple of episodes, but there isn't that much to take down. That is the problem. As for tonnage, i.e. being able to invade them, difficult. I don't have the tonnage here. I have 2 battleships, but it's like 50, maybe we can reach about 70,000 tons. It's not enough. Anyway, that'll be it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you soon for more.